Yes guys, how's it going and welcome back to another video today on the channel, and today I've got another prediction video for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the last one. This time we've got championship predictions, mine and Ethan's again. This time we haven't gotten as much knowledge on the championship as we do on the Premier League, so don't say it in the comments section, but also do leave your predictions down there below. Anyway, like and subscribe, hope you all enjoy. Right then, before we go into the predictions, just a heads up, we're going to have my predictions up there on the left, Ethan's up there on the right, so you'll be able to see whilst we're going through. So, starting with the bottom five, we've both got Preston North End in bottom place. For me, I don't think they are a bad side, I just think they've probably got one of the weaker squads. They look like they're going to make an addition quite soon, and with the signing of Freddie Woodman. I don't know if it's a loan or a signing, but Freddie's a good keeper, so I think he'll do alright, but there's probably stronger people you can get in there. Ethan's got the same. Don't have any reasons why he's put them there, but yeah. In 23rd, I've got Wigan Athletic. I personally don't think Wigan have got a strong squad. I just think they're not a great side. I don't think they can push for playoffs, as obviously I've put them in the relegation zone, but I just don't think they've got enough to stay up. Ethan's got Rotherham. I can see why he's put them there as well. Now moving on to my last relegation spot, I've got Rotherham United as well. As I said before, I just don't feel Rotherham have got a good enough squad, and I just don't think they'll last very long. But I think they might have just came up, I'm not sure. No, I don't think they did. No, they didn't. I don't think they did. Yeah, they did actually. They did just come up. But I just don't see them doing well. I just don't feel they've got a good squad. Ethan has got Blackpool. For me, I don't have any idea on Blackpool, but I don't have any advice to put them there either. The team avoiding the relegation zone for me is Birmingham City. I actually do think they've got an okay squad. Last season they've done okay. They didn't do great. They came 20th. Like, that's not bad in the championship. It's not a bad position to come. You keep yourself up in the league and they're like trying to go in for promotion, but I think this looks like they got pulled into it last year, and I do think they'll get pulled into it again. But I just think they'll have enough to keep themselves in. Ethan's got Bristol City. I don't have a clue why he's put them there, but I'm just going to go through where he's got every team. Anyway, in 20th spot, I've got Coventry City. For me, I watched a couple of games of the championship last season, and I just don't think Coventry have got a good squad. I just think they don't have that, that person who's going to get you off the seat, get you pushing for promotion. I just don't think Coventry have that person who can do that. I mean, obviously, it's before the transfer window and many signings have came in, so you never know. They could sign someone and could turn their squad upside down and make a few of us. In 20th spot, Ethan's got Burnham. As I said before, they've not got a strong squad, so I can see why they put them there, but yeah. In 19th spot, I've got Bristol City. Bristol City, I don't think they are a bad team. I just don't see them coming very high, and I just don't see them pushing for that playoff spot. I think they've got a squad, and I don't think they'll get dragged into a relegation battle. I just think they don't have what it takes to get promoted or maybe even push for the top half of the table. Ethan's got Wigan. As you can see, I've put Wigan to get relegated, so we seem to have have the same predictions near the bottom five. Moving on now. We're going on to 18th spot up to 14th place. In 18th place, I've got Stoke City. For me, Stoke aren't realistically going to push for playoffs, let's be real. I just don't think they have a bad squad to get relegated. Like, I do think they've got a good squad. They've got a few good players, but they just don't have that big players to take them to the playoffs and get them back to the Premier League. Maybe a couple of years' time they might get to the Premier League, but for me, just not at the moment. 17th place, I've got Hull City. For me, I don't have much knowledge on Hull City because I don't follow the Championship teams as much as I follow the Premier League side. So for me, in 17th spot, they have just put Hull. I don't have a reason that much why, but I don't think they can get playoffs. I just don't think they've got a squad that can get to the Premier League. That's just, for me, that's just not the case. 16th spot, Reading. I think Reading are a good side. Like, I actually don't think they're a bad side. I just don't think they will get relegated. But I think Reading will do alright. They won't do bad. 15th spot, I got the enemy, Sunderland. Obviously, Sunderland, let's start about Sunderland. Sunderland got promoted last season. In fair play to them, they went to Wembley, they got the job done. Normally they end up going to Wembley and get beat, but this time they got the job done. I think Sunderland they've actually got a strong squad. I think they've got a few good players. Obviously, when you get promoted, you know what I mean, that you have that togetherness and you've got that buzz around the squad. And you'll have some confidence going into the new season. I think for Sunderland will either surprise you, then do really well, push the playoffs and all that, or they'll have a horrific season and just don't do anything. For me, I'd like them to do absolutely nothing and be horrendous, but I can see Sunderland coming 15th. I just think they won't get playoffs, but they could. You never know what's going to happen in football. Ethan obviously put them lower, as you can see in the table. Next spot, in 14th, Millwall. Millwall, they're an alright side. I think they've probably got a little bit of a stronger squad than Sunderland, as they've been in the Championship for a few years now. Obviously, Sunderland just got promoted, so there's obviously the difference in squads, as I think Sunderland will need to adapt and buy some players for the Championship. Unlike Millwall, they've got them players already for the Championship and just need to sign a few more to maybe push and keep them in that league. But I think Millwall, they're not going to get relegated, but I don't think they will get playoffs, but I'd like to see a new side in the Premier League we haven't seen in a while. 13th spot, we've got QPR, Queen Park Rangers. I think they are an alright side. You probably think I keep saying it for the exact same every team, but they are an alright team. I think Queen Park Rangers, they're just not a side for the Premier League for me. I just feel they are a Championship side. They won't, unless something drastically amazing happens to them, they get a takeover and they can spend loads of money. I just don't see them getting promoted to back to the Premier League. So for me, I've got Queen Park Rangers at 13th. In 12th spot, we've got Swansea City, one of the Welsh teams. For me, Swansea, obviously a few years back, let's say like 2017-18, they were in the Premier League, and I think back then they had a good squad, good enough for the Premier League. I think over the last couple of years, obviously they had that playoff heartbreak against Brentford. Freddie Woodman was out there on loan, unable to get them back to the Premier League, but they've came close. I just think last season you didn't get in the playoffs. Like, you had the playoff heartbreak and it probably like dampened the squad. You just felt like you're heartbroken, and it was like probably hard to pick yourselves up again. But I think this year it's like the rebuild year. Get yourselves back up on your feet, get them back to where they like doing well, and then maybe push for the playoff spots and see if you can get back to the Premier League. But for me, 12th. 11th spot, I've got the other Welsh side, Cardiff City. I think Cardiff, obviously, as the same with Swansea, they win the Premier League a couple of years back as well. Neil Warnock was the manager at the time. Obviously, he's now, I think he's retired as well, so he's not even there. I think Cardiff, they don't have a squad good enough for the Premier League. I think they need to buy a few players, maybe wait a couple of years, then try and get. Well, they're obviously going to try and get back in the Premier League, but I just don't think they've got what it takes to be in the Premier League. In 10th spot, I've got Blackpool. Nice place, Blackpool Tower. Just they're not on the best football sides, is it? Are they? I don't feel they're gonna don't think they'll get promoted. I just don't think they'll get relegated. They've got an okay team. Yeah. So Blackpool in 10th spot. Right now from 9th up to the Championship winners. In 9th spot, I've got West Bromwich Albion. Like a couple of sides I've said, they were in the Premier League a couple of years back. They've got Steve Bruce as manager. I just don't think Bruce is a good manager. Obviously, you probably respect that from a Newcastle fan, but he's not, in my opinion. And he won't get them playoffs, but he won't get them relegated. 8th spot, I've got Luton. I think, if I remember right, Luton did get playoffs last season. As you can see, Ethan's predicted them to get playoffs. But I just don't think they'll get that again. Now, the top 7, the main part of the predictions. In the last playoff spot, I've got Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn, they're an alright side. I think they got playoffs last year. I think, or they had a good season last year. They've got a couple of good players. I think they've got someone called Brenton Diaz. I think he's like one of their standout players. So if he can get shining, maybe he'll get them back to the Premier League. It'd be nice to see like a different side in the Premier League than like West Brom and all them who constantly who've been in a couple of years ago. 6th spot, Huddersfield Town. Obviously they had the heartbreak of losing out in the playoff final at Wembley to Nottingham Forest, who got promoted to the Premier League. I think I've put them high in the playoffs, but they could either have a good season, go straight back at it, get back in the playoffs and try and get back in the Premier League, or it'll be a season where they're feeling sorry for themselves at the start, have a slow start and have to rebuild like halfway through the season. So for me personally, I don't want them to feel sorry for them at the start. Just get straight back at it and try and get promoted and get a playoff spot. 5th spot, Borough. I've been to a Borough game against Derby last season. The atmosphere was amazing. The fans were quite good. Obviously, didn't missed out on playoffs last year. Do I think they'll get them this year? I think I'd like to see Borough back in the Premier League and Newcastle to play against them. It'd be a nice game to play against them. I think probably beat them as well, so that'd be alright. But I just think the long as they don't bottle it again, as they sort of did last year, sort of did, sort of didn't. But I just hope they don't. I hope they do go up. 4th spot, Sheffield United. Obviously, they came up a couple of years back and surprised everybody. Had one of the best seasons in the Premier League a couple of years back. But then the season after, like second season thing, obviously Chris had a horrendous start. Of course, Newcastle were the team to give them the first win. Chris Wilder then left during the season, and then it just went all from pear-shaped from then. I think they got playoffs last year. Obviously, they had Forest in quarterfinals or semi-finals. Obviously, Forest beat them. So they've had playoff heartbreak as well. I think Sheffield United, though, they're ready to go. They'll be ready to go and try and get back to the Premier League. 3rd spot, I've got one of the relegated sides, Watford. Obviously, Ben Foster's team. I'd like to see them get promoted as well. If Ben Foster is still there, I'd like to see him. I don't think he is, though. I think he is leaving. So, yeah. Watford, obviously, last season, that had that standout performance against Man United when they won 4-1. But apart from that, they didn't have a good season. They're not a good team, and I just don't think they'll win or get automatic promotion. I think it'll be the playoffs for them. Or the Premier League side, obviously, it seems to be every year. So yo up and down, and then they just never seem to stay in for consecutive time. In 2nd spot, the team who are getting automatic promotion, not win the league, not playoffs, automatic promotion. I have got Burnley. Burnley have got one of the best, probably close to being one of the best centre backs in the Premier League that they've ever had. Vincent Kompany is their manager. I think this season, obviously, I think they're losing Tarkowski, Ben Mee, a couple of other players, so it'll be some fresh faces around Turf Moor. I think Vincent Kompany, he'll either have a stink and just not get it right, or he'll get it right and get them back to the Premier League where they probably belong. I don't like Burnley myself, but I think they will get back in the Premier League. And now, the champions of the Championship. I'll go Ethan's first. He's got Middlesbrough. I'm sorry, Ethan, but I just do not see that happening, mate. I don't know what you're on about, mate, but I respect the decision. I've got Norwich City. Norwich City, as I said before, for Watford, they are a yo-yo side. They're up and down, up and down. They never seem to have a 2, 3, 4 year spell in the Premier League. But whenever they go down, they always seem to do amazing in the Championship and get straight back up. And I think it'll happen again this season. I think they aren't a bad side, Norwich, and I think they will do really well this year. Obviously, Dean Smith is the manager. Be interested to see what he does in the Championship. But I think he'll get them straight back up, and I think they'll play some amazing football, and it'll be a good thing to watch. So yeah, there's my predictions and Ethan's predictions. Right then, there we are. Second prediction video on a league. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you have watched to the end, comment down below saying you've watched to the end. I hope you all enjoyed that. It's probably not as entertaining as the Premier League because I didn't have much knowledge on it, but me and Ethan have got predictions, so we'll see who comes out best at the end of the season. If you don't forget to like and subscribe, and that's the next one. Bye-bye.